Hi, welcome to the Blissful Heart channel. My name is Desiree Lee and I am here to give you your weekly bliss fix. Today we are going to look at Mercury Transit in Scorpio and get an energy read on what you could possibly be hiding from yourself. How can you shine light in those shadow aspects? Hi, welcome back to my channel, to all of my subscribers, and for anybody that's new, I do not only energy reads and sometimes I do pick a card readings, but I have recently just started to add some more educational videos on energy, on vibration, on yogic philosophy, on spiritual consciousness. So if you like my vibe, click subscribe. Before I get started into discussing what we're going to get into today, I just want to give a big shout out to my Patreons. Thank you so much for your $1 donation. I not only provide you a monthly timeline of the twin flame journey for twins not in union, but you provide me a little love for $1 a month. If you don't want to join my Patreon, but you do feel like giving back to me, I do have my donation link in the description box below. So I'm going to kind of separate today's video into two different areas. In this first part, I'm going to discuss a little bit about Mercury Transit. So for those of you that don't know, I am not an astrologist, but I have decided, I have recently become inspired anyway, to start doing a little bit more research and study in astrology. So you get the benefit of learning as I learn. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned, and I will also be including links to a couple of the articles that I used to research today's video in the description box below. So you can check out those articles if you want to read them yourself. And then I'm going to do the energy read with the tarot cards and the oracle cards. So if for some reason you're not interested in getting a little education on Mercury Transit in Scorpio and what that means, then you can also check the description box below for a timestamp that'll just jump right to the energy reading for you. Okay? Okay. So let's take a look at what does this Mercury Transit in Scorpio mean? Well, Mercury is in retrograde and it had recently just passed in front of the sun. Now, our sun is all about renewal and recharge. It's a beautiful, beautiful, intense energy. And I also posted a video from NASA of this transit because it happened on November 11th, which we already did some videos on 11/11. But I will also have the link for that NASA video for you. It's like 1 minute. It's really cool to watch. I mean, Mercury is so tiny compared to our sun, right? And Mercury is all about this need to know, this need to tell, this need to understand. It is our mind and our voice. It has been symbolized as the winged messenger. I really like to connect this planet with the chakra, the throat chakra, because I really resonated with this concept of communication on a deeper level, of like it being something that is soul truth, deeper understanding beyond our intellect, right? It's like a feeling and a knowledge. It's also connected to something divine, right? It's vast. So this is Mercury, right? And so when it goes in retrograde, it's really about kind of like, I see it as slowing down and maybe doing some research or self-study or self-reflection, but it's more about like trying to understand deeper, right? Now we're doing this with Scorpio. So when we look at Scorpio, Scorpio is this very shadowy, watery aspect of like birth and rebirth energy. And it has like passion and intensity. And it's also been known as the shadow magnet. Yeah. So if you look at those three aspects of Mercury, wanting to know, of Scorpio being this kind of birth and rebirth shadowy element, which is also very connected with what I relate to as the moon card in the tarot. So like as a feminine intuition. Yeah. And our sun, which is like this renewal and recharge energy. We're looking at having a deeper understanding of our shadow aspects and trying to renew ourselves through these shadow aspects. Now, I just want to mention that if you are an astrologist and you happen to be watching this video, I would welcome any additional information that you want to add. I mean, I know that astrology can get very, very deep, and I'm definitely trying to keep it light, not only for time purposes on this video, but because I'm also new to understanding it myself. But that is how I understood the message, and I'm relaying that to you. So not only are we being asked to kind of examine and purge and renew ourselves, but we're looking for balance in our dark and our light. And I think it makes so much sense when you look at it being the last Mercury retrograde of 2019, of this really sensitive yet powerful transition of us into 2020. Like, we're really starting to wrap things up here at the tail end of 2019. And another really interesting little fact is that this transit only happens once every like 20 years, approximately. I guess the next occurrence is supposed to be November 13th, 2032. So yeah, that is like 13 years, right? 13 years. So it's a rare transition, and it's a powerful one. I feel that most of you have already been experiencing this because it's November 14th today for me. So this started on the 11th, and I feel like many of you are already kind of in this space of trying to understand what's going on. And so for the energy read, I wanted to, kind of dig into that. Now, again, it is a collective energy read, but I'm always blown away by how these messages for the collective resonate with so many of us. And I feel like it's one of the things that I specialize in, is trying to cater to different types of energies, people in different areas on their soul journey. So that being said, some of the things I say may or may not completely resonate with you, but just take what serves you, and recognize if what you think doesn't serve you is really resistance. Kind of make sure you're not listening out of avoidance. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the reading. Okay, so I have all of the cards ready to reveal to you, and I mean, I love it when the syncs are just so harmonized, where everything just feels like it is so perfectly designed, as it should. I mean, I feel like I say that a lot, but this one is really powerful, and I'm excited to share it with you. So I asked the Angels of Truth, of Love and Light, to show us what cards represent the overall energy of this Mercury transit right now. And I got from the Starman Tarot the Princess of Cups and the Prince of Wands. So you can't make this stuff up, right? This is Cups, which is water, which represents our Scorpio energy. And then the Wands is fire, which represents our Sun energy, right? Because the Mercury in transit is kind of eclipsing in front of the Sun, or it already did, I should say. So let's talk about this Princess of Cups. She very much, to me, reminds me of like pretty much what every empath was, or maybe if you're really young and watching this, still is, prior to figuring out how to deal with all of your emotional sensitivities. She's very passionate, she's very creative, she's very intuitive, and she is just full of hope for all of life, right? But then there's also this really sad element of hurt and trauma based on what she sees in the world, and the loss and the pain and the suffering that she is witnessing, not only like taking place on the planet, but like witnessing other people doing it to her or to people she loves, where there's like that hate and that pain. And so this card, on like in a positive aspect, is talking about using that pain to deepen our compassion, and for us to show up as these like inspired like unique, creative psychic transmitters of compassion and love, and showing up as healers and, revealing that dark shadow aspect as a strength. Yeah. And that's Scorpio, like based on, reading Scorpio, that is exactly like the same energy that I was picking up off of. So I just thought it was really amazing that this is what showed up for our overall energy. I feel really showing the aspects of Scorpio, and most or some of them, I should say. And then here we have the Prince of Wands. I mean, to me, this so looks like David Bowie, like some, aspect of David Bowie. And he is like inspired action. He is like bold and courageous and fearless. And he is about speaking your mind and like living large and, not letting any fears hold you back, right? And so that is definitely that fiery sun energy of just like bursting through the doors and exclaiming what you want and what you believe in and what you know to be true. It's feisty, it's motivated, it's fearless, right? It's also a little naive, right? So in terms of this overall energy, that is definitely what I feel we are looking to balance, is like, not only tapping into and recognizing that part of maybe your anxiety or your stress around this time is you being really hungry for what you sense intuitively, whether it's conscious or subconscious, but is on the other side of like confronting these fears of like harnessing these like shadow aspects, right? Because, there is a reverse of this Princess of Cups, and it is somebody that does not take the dark and use it as a strength. It's somebody that lets it make them weak and depressed and sad, right? So, I feel like this is definitely the struggle that's going on with the collective, is where there's like, we have this inner knowing that there's something really amazing on the other side of this wall, right? This barrier that we're able to like get through. The barrier is really made of like clouds, right? It's an illusion that it's impassable. It can be passable, right? And so we are looking to like balance this feisty, like Prince of Wands energy with this sensitive, passionate, creative, delicate, like Princess of Cups. Okay, so this is the overall experience of what we're looking at. Now, instead of doing like a weekly timeline breakdown like I normally do for the energy reads, I decided to instead look at our mind, look at our shadow aspect, and look at our intuition, right? Because part of what's going on, right, is Mercury is connected to the mind. And so we're really looking at like maybe where there are some negative thought patterns or belief patterns that we want to reconstruct, and how to flip that. And that is like what we were seeing with this Princess of Cups, is like it could go one or the other way, right? It can be something that you use as inspired action, that you use to deepen your level of love and understanding, or you can let it just bury you in a pit of sadness and hurt and pain, just like seeing what is the dark side of humanity, right? Which again, I definitely went through that when I was younger. I was incredibly depressed, and for me, younger, I'm referring to like 14 to 30, I don't know. For a very huge chunk of my life before I found yoga, I definitely struggled with that empathic sensitivity of feeling the suffering of all of humanity and really feeling like it was a lost cause, and so you are being called to tap into that light and to use that as a powerful tool to heal yourself and to also be of assistance to others. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the mind. We are using the Queen of the Moon Oracle coming in with card number 11, which, this transit started on November 11th, and I did a little quick video on, actually it's not that quick, but I did an 11/11 video. If you want to check that out, I'll maybe put a link in this corner or this corner. Okay, so 11, fear, all right? Mental fear. I like got chills, okay? This is exactly what we're looking at. Before I get into it, I'm going to reveal all of the cards. Then I use the Tarot de la Nuit, or the Tarot of the Night, and we got 4 of Wands, okay? Wands are fire. We got 7 of Wands. We had the Prince of Wands, right, for the overall energy. 8 of Wands. That's a lot of fire, all right? And then we also have card 7, Nourishment, Waning Crescent 5. This one is Waxing Gibbous 2. Okay, so for this mental energy, we are looking at our fears. We're looking at what is a healthy fear and what is an unhealthy fear. Like, is it a fear that's actually keeping you alive? Or is it one that needs to be addressed, okay? Because this is really what we're doing, right? We're looking at this mental space from the energy of Mercury, and we're looking at where we have any kind of belief system set in place that we've convinced ourselves we're not allowed to do, be, or, say something based on us being judged, or based on us being wrong and then having to admit we're wrong, or, like really getting deep in these fears and finding that courage, right? And so we see this energy, all these wands, I can't even believe it, and we see a repeat in the 4 and the 8. But I mean, I just was so surprised that all the tarots came out as the court wands. So this beautiful 4 of Wands is all about this idea of harmony. Our 4 is like this kind of symbolic number of reaching some sort of, structured balance point. It's not a completion number, but it is significant. It does signify being in a space of like stability and having like addressed some things. It suggests there being good times. Now, we also have the 7 of Wands, which is so much about like standing your ground, and it's very fierce. You can see she's got like her torch there, ready to like stand her ground and stand up for what she believes in. And then we have the 8 of Wands, which is like a burst of inspired energy, and it is like creativity. And then we have Nourishment. So I see it as like, okay, we have to look at where this mental fear is and recognize that it is creating imbalance, and that we are not in harmony until we address and release this fear. But on the other side of it is finding harmony. So Spirit's saying like a way that you can kind of tap into whatever this fear is to see where your life you feel like it's not in balance, whether it's like financial or with your love life or with your friends or with your body. I'm hearing, just like an imbalance in your health and in your self-care. I do feel like there is like a message for many of you about like really loving yourself. And I don't know if that comes through again, but I just know that that's definitely something that is kind of coming up for people right now, is getting more intimate with your wounds and these shadow aspects, this Princess of Cups, and nurturing yourself. And not being afraid to stand up for what you believe in. So now Spirit is saying that there is quite a few of you that are, relatively green, as we might say, to this whole experience of energy and vibration and, spiritual consciousness. And so you're like a little insecure about discussing it with people, and that's totally healthy and normal. There's no like shame in that. But, and I do always encourage people when something is new, like where you're not 100% certain yourself, you should not be talking to non-believers because, you want to give yourself that space to know if, that and Spirit's like, that's kind of like the idea of a healthy fear. That's a healthy fear. If you don't feel safe communicating something that you just discovered and you find really inspiring and exciting, but you don't know enough about it to like scream it from the mountaintops, that like trust that fear, okay? Because that fear is designed to give you room to feel free to explore it and get to know it better, and then decide for yourself if it really is something that you want to like continue to believe in, if it's something that will always inspire you, and then, starting to reveal that. Like I said, I didn't come out of the psychic closet like publicly in terms of, putting it on a business card until I want to say it was like 35. I mean, all of my friends kind of knew I did. Obviously, I was doing readings locally and stuff, but it was always something that I would only reveal to people that I felt comfortable and safe revealing it to. So in terms of like getting comfortable and feeling safe, like you give yourself, that is like, Spirit's like, that is an example of a healthy fear, okay? And then, know what you can stand your ground on and what you don't, like know where you should be speaking up about certain things that you believe in, certain things you're passionate about. And, I'm hearing like it's time for you to kind of redefine yourself, because you are in this tremendous space of growth. And so while there's obviously some room in terms of like when you feel ready to kind of say, I'm a hippie now, and you start wearing tie-dye every day, whatever it is, like there's some room for that, but also like check in with why you're fearful. Because if you have been like in this like energetic spiritual journey for a while and it's something you secretly love and believe in fiercely, like maybe it's time for you to start telling other people, because you don't know that you might be that voice that helps other people that are in the dark right now, that they're kind of curious, but they're afraid to talk to anybody about it. Like maybe you're that person that helps open a door for somebody else. So recognize that. And then with our 8 of Wands, this is like, so I feel like they're just like, if you love yourself, right? So that's definitely where that nourishment energy was coming in, taking care of yourself, through food, through diet, through exercise, through affirmations, through meditation, just having like a daily spiritual practice. Even, ever since my surgery, I've been very committed to doing like a morning sadhana or a spiritual practice, and it only is about 20 minutes, but it's sacred. And we're going to see that come through again as we move into this reading. But there's definitely like this need for you to find time in your schedule, to make time in your schedule. And for you, and this is what Spirit was going to mention, if you're a mom and you've got kids and they get up at 6 a.m., like maybe you should get up at 5 a.m. so you can have 20-30 minutes to yourself to sip some tea or coffee, to meditate a little, to just breathe and clear your mind for the day, or practice a mantra, do some mala work, whatever is inspiring you, or do a little card reading for yourself, right? But this is definitely about creating a daily spiritual practice. Spirit saying I feel like the morning is the most potent because it really sets the tone for the day. But you can also do it in the evening before you go to bed, or both, which is like the most ideal situation. Okay. So, and then, so we're seeing like this, addressing what the fear is mentally, right? We're still looking at these mental constructs, addressing those fear patterns, looking at where you might be imbalanced and knowing that balance is on the other end of that, and to stand your ground in what you believe in, or to know maybe if that's a healthy fear, and to look forward to this inspiration that you are going to receive by having the courage to address these things, these aspects that you maybe feel shameful about or afraid of, And Spirit just keeps saying, you know, really look at what that fear is. Is it healthy or unhealthy? Like, that's like the biggest message for the mental space. And, you know, create a little bit of nourishment, self-love practice for yourself. Okay. So moving into the shadow aspect. Okay. So we're looking at this shadow self and like what you could potentially be hiding. And we got card 21, which is a 3, blood month. Sacrifice, offerings, and decision. This card is so intense, you guys. And then we also have, and this, I literally didn't make this up, okay? We got 4 of Pentacles, which the mind space was 4 of Wands. Then we got Page of Pentacles, which is another Pentacles. I shuffled these, I swear. And then we got 8 of Pentacles, which, the mental space was 8 of Wands. Okay, so a lot of syncs there. And then we got from the Moonology deck, Hold Your Vision, Fixed Moon. All right, so yeah, we're getting into this shadowy space. This here is about sacrifice. And the idea of sacrifice is taking something that you hold as sacred and sacrificing it, letting it go. And I'm getting chills all over about that. This could be something quite literal, like, you know, maybe there's some cherished possession in your house that holds a lot of old memories that are painful. And it's time for you to literally like clear some space in your house of objects that or material possessions that hold a low vibration energy for you, or a stagnant energy for you that is preventing you from making more dramatic change in your life. Okay, but it most likely, or could also suggest attachments to things that no longer serve you in terms of attitude, like maybe having too much pride over something, or maybe being, you know, superior to others in some way, like feeling like you're better. And, you know, I feel like this is a common trap with a lot of people that are empathic or intuitive, people that, you know, consider themselves to be incredibly conscious, like spiritually conscious people, where there is a superiority that takes place in that. I've seen it a lot with, you know, I think that being vegan is amazing. Unfortunately, I have met many vegans in my lifetime that start to get this weird elitism that makes them rather unpleasant to be around, quite frankly. But I really, really, really honor and respect those of you that have chosen veganism as a lifestyle. I have tried it and it did not resonate with me, but I do the best I can in terms of respect of what I put into my body. But that being said, you know, my point is that just because you're a good person or a conscious person or an educated person doesn't mean that you're better, right? And I feel like it is a trap that a lot of people can get into when they are educating themselves about the environment or educating themselves about, you know, energy and vibration, or, you know, doing the best they can on working on themselves. So I am better than that a-hole who is not working on themselves, right? So definitely looking at that elitism, superiority, maybe being judgmental of others, right? But there is definitely like an attitude or a material possession that needs to be sacrificed and let go of here. So we have all of these pentacles, which represents Taurus, right? Taurus is something that I didn't really get into, but the full moon was in Taurus. It just passed, right? So we are seeing this like earthy energy, I feel, that representing the Taurus element. So this 4 of Pentacles, it can be a very positive card, but in terms of looking at our shadow aspects here, we are looking at a lot of control here. We've got this idea of like things being fixed, of holding something in place, of being stubborn, of trying to keep everything together, and you're like forcing it together. And then with this Page of Pentacles, it also has this idea of like control, but it's a little bit more gentle, a little bit more naive. So this is kind of this like idea of like maybe I am letting this control like corrupt me. Like maybe I am getting a little too obsessed with power. So like I see this as almost kind of like a little like ray of hope, or that like intuitive nag that's just like, what are you holding on to? Like, what are you being so convinced you're right about? What are you not letting yourself do because you are so firmly believing that if you were to do that, it would make you this kind of person, or it'd be wrong, or it would be a regret, right? I feel like there's definitely like this, like you're trying so hard to keep it all together that it's gonna break, like you cannot keep it together. And I feel like it's starting to come down. And then, for this 8 of Pentacles, we are looking at like caution and restraint, and using the skills for good, so there's definitely like this idea of like on the positive aspect, you might be learning some new things and like feeling inspired, but that you're like at a stagnant point where you're not able to move further forward because of some stubborn belief systems. I just feel like there's some resistance in terms of being more flexible and being more open-minded. I just feel so strongly that this is about being more optimistic about the way things are and giving yourself permission. I'm hearing that there's like been some mental constructs in terms of like, maybe you don't think you're good enough for that, or smart enough for that, or you're too old for that, or you're too young for that, or you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not, like I just feel like there's a lot of not enoughs going on here, and that it is part of this shadow that needs to be healed. Again, self-esteem is coming through from Spirit, and this guy here is definitely like diligent, right? And there is this idea of like suggesting to exercise caution and kind of slow down. So, right, Mercury retrograde is about slowing down. And I feel like this is a very consistent theme for the entire reading, is that we're looking to balance that fire energy that we're getting from the sun with this like emotionally charged, shadowy, watery element of Scorpio, and just kind of get a little anchored into the earth here, and have a little bit of a reality check in terms of like what can be done. And then Spirit saying that if you are feeling resistance in terms of maybe you're starting a new project, or you're starting some new program of some sort, whether it's weight loss or exercise or study, and you're feeling a little, again, eager. I definitely feel some anxiety from the collective, just a little anxious, okay? And then here, we have the hold your vision, fixed moon. So again, I'm talking more about like the reversals of these cards, because we are looking at the shadow aspect, except for this card. This card was like pretty much what it is. But so this is like, again, fixed, stubborn, stuck, holding on to something too fiercely, not being willing to let it go. I just got the image of like a mother that over mothers her child, and then that child is not able to function as an adult because they've been too much love, too much nurturing, too much like obsession from the mother, and so then that's like what I'm kind of feeling is happening here, where you're just like holding on to something too tightly, and you're being very stubborn about it. And I do, like Spirit's just saying, don't worry. Like a Spirit has this way of knocking you on your butt and revealing to you that you're wrong. You're just wrong, okay? And that's all right. You just needed to learn that lesson that you're wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. A lot of the times, like this idea of being wrong is just more about like you are right in what you believe in, but so is the other person, right? Everybody's entitled to their belief system. So know that there's very few things in this world where it's 100% one way and no other way, right? So don't be so stubborn that you're unwilling to let people have their own philosophies and opinions and their own existence in life. Don't try to like control anybody else, and definitely stop trying to control yourself, and there's so much you could take apart in this energy of shadow, and the more you allow yourself to really surrender and release that control, the more enormous this transition state is going to be, which, if I wasn't clear, what we're going through right now is tremendous. It is a big deal. We did the 11/11 portal. We had the full moon in Taurus. We've got Mercury retrograde transit and over through Scorpio. Like, there is a lot happening right now. This is not a small task. All right. So me even just trying to encompass this in a little card reading for you is a tremendous feat. I'm doing the best I can, though. All right. Intuition. All right. So what does Spirit want you to know about your intuition? From the Amenti Oracle, I got I Am Humble, card 39, which is a 12 or a 3. I feel like we've seen 3. Oh, yeah. This blood month was 21, which is a 3. Then we have Whale, Breach, Earth Magic Oracle, Shaman, Ancient Healing Wisdom, Beauty, Waning, Gibeus 4, card 20, and 6, the Divine Physician. These are like a little all over the place, but that's what I was guided to do, so here it is. Okay, so in terms of like our intuition and checking in on that, the Amenti Oracle is talking about humility. And I, in the yoga world, there was an article that recently got released about inappropriate adjustments in yoga. And, there's a whole conversation happening through social media on that. And, it's like I tell people, yeah, there's a lot of people that have brought healing yoga here to the West that have totally gotten obsessed with their power and have been incredibly inappropriate and have had lawsuits put on them for being sexually inappropriate. I mean, it's insane how many stories I've heard of gurus and yogic teachers in this yoga world that are a little sick. I mean that in both ways, okay? But, I feel like this is coming up because it is a perfect example of what we are talking about with this shadow aspect of power corrupting. And how it can really start to mess with your ability to know what is morally correct and like where your place in the world is, It's so important for us to always check in with where we're at in terms of who we think we are and how we are showing up. And, I can say that it's definitely a challenge when you assume a position of authority in any way. You have to have a certain level of confidence. And then, you also have to kind of come back and be like, I was wrong if you were wrong, or be willing to, be flexible and change your mind or change the way you stand on your ground. And, it's like people will come to you for advice, and obviously you want to give them advice confidently. And I can see how maybe for some people that consistently happening over a period of 10, 15, 20 years can really start to mess with your ego, right? So this is so much about like getting in check with your soul and remembering that we are all one and nobody is better than anybody else, and that, we're all on this journey, and to constantly be checking in with our sense of compassion, and know that we are made of this earth and we are noble like the stars, right? This is also has this message of like, as above, so below. And that as above, so below was showing up in my research as well. So, we definitely are looking at balancing what's going on astrologically, and then what's going on in ourselves, okay? And so we see this whale, this breaching energy, and this whale is like break out of your patterns, okay? So let's remember, this is all about how we're going to empower our connection to our intuition right now. And I personally, again, and I've mentioned this before, but I am designing and practicing a 40-day pineal gland. It's like a decalcification and a connection, like an invigoration. And once I complete it and fine tune it, it's something that I do want to present on my channel. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. But yeah, so, we are looking at how to empower this connection of our inner knowing and our trust in ourselves. One is to come into humility. And I feel like for some people that might be backwards, like, well, how can I trust my intuition if I'm saying I'm not perfect? It's like, that's exactly how you come into your intuition, because you give yourself permission to be imperfect, and then you can allow yourself to just trust whatever comes through, knowing that it's never going to be perfect, but it's going to be perfect for you, right? And so we're breaking out of patterns. The spirit is so strong in this message of like, get outside. Literally, get outside. Go to that place you've been saying you were going to go to all year long. Do it before 2019 is over. Take that trip. Do that thing. Maybe it's like axe throwing, or going swimming in the ocean, or in a body of water, or trying out some new exercise dance class, or whatever. Like, if there's been something that you were like in January of 2019, you're like, this year I'm gonna do this. Like, see if you can try to do something like that right now. Get it out of your comfort zone. Okay. And, push yourself into some outer limit space that makes you uncomfortable, because that is where growth and change happens. And so it's just like, do it, break free, do it, just force yourself to do it. And yeah, I posted something like that just the other day on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Blissful Heart. From Dr. Joe Dispenza, about how we have to get into that space of fear to find growth. I honestly can't remember exactly what it said, but it was something like that. And then one of my friends, like one of my Instagram followers / a former friend, we're like acquaintances on Instagram now, messaged me like how that she received that just when she needed it, and it really inspired her to go out and do this thing that she was scared to do. So I mean, like, you can do it. I believe in you. Do you believe in you? Okay, and then I love this shaman, ancient healing wisdom. He came in to say, like, you can heal your intuition by healing your spirit. And that you should make, I'm getting chills all over, you should make nurturing your soul and your connection with the divine your number one priority. And I know that I talked about that with this nourishment card, which I'm just going to put in front of the humble card for now. But this is definitely that same, because this is your mind, right? Mind, your body, and your spirit, right? That is what yoga is the union of all three of those things, those energetic planes, right? We nourish our physical body with exercise and diet. We nourish our mind with reading, journaling, meditating. We nourish our spirit by meditating, using our intuition, and even just breathing, which is meditating. But meditation is everything. Chanting, mantras, it's the best. And, doing mantra chanting is something that I would like to bring to my channel as well. Please comment below with anything that excites you, that I talk about, that you're like, I wish I knew how. Let me know, because I've been knowing some stuff that I would love to share with you. So, I mean, like I said, just create a sacred practice for yourself that you're consistent with. Even on the mornings you don't want to do it, you make yourself do it. Make that commitment to yourself. Do it. You need some deep, deep soul healing to help build the relationship with your intuitive self and to gain that trust. Think of it as making a friend with like a stray dog. Like you need to develop that trust and work on it every day, and let your higher self, let your intuitive self know that you're in it for the long haul. You're not just here to play, that you are making a serious commitment to knowing and loving yourself on a deeper level and having that connection with God. Divine consciousness, the great mystery, the all there is, Sat Nam. And then here we see beauty again. This one is like all about like redefining what you think is beautiful, A, and then B, also like nature is so beautiful. And so whenever you're feeling lost, these two should really be like right next to each other like this. Get outside, get out of, whatever is your norm, do something different, take a nature walk, get someplace where there's like maybe some kind of flower garden or something where you really have an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of nature and to recognize how glorious and amazing all of life on this planet is, right? And to balance your ideals of like what you consider to be beautiful. I feel like, men are actually getting affected by beauty as well these days. Women have been affected by it for a much longer time, but I mean, it's happening where men are also feeling like they need to be strong or bulky or, whatever, super fit. So like really just recognizing our beauty comes from the inside. And then I love the Divine Physician card 6. This is like, really, this card should be like the final end all of all cards for this whole reading, which it is. But I meant like not necessarily including it in the intuition section, but just all over message here. The Divine Physician is magnificent healing. Magnificent healing is possible, and it is currently happening. And this magnificent, powerful healing energy is not only healing you and healing these shadow aspects and letting yourself, stop trying to be Atlas, holding the entire world up on your shoulders and giving yourself space to, just take a big sigh of relief and know that, this time of this transit with Mercury retrograde is designed to slow down. So there is no rush, and just continue to be consistent with that sacred practice that I've been lecturing about. Design one for yourself and commit to it for 40 days. That's how we can break a habit, set a new one. And if you are having meditation be part of that practice, that's also how you can start to help reprogram neurological transmitter connections in your brain to more healthy, positive feelings and habits. It's a fact. It's science. I am currently reading a few books. I did just buy the Dr. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Superhuman, I think it's called. I haven't gotten a chance to start it yet because I'm reading 2 books at once, and then I'm trying to also start studying astrology, but I'm very motivated, and I'm sharing that with you because I want to know if you're reading some really cool books that you want to talk to somebody about or that you think I should know about. Please share them below. If you know a lot about astrology, I'm really trying to kind of understand the difference between Western and Vedic right now. I've been doing a little bit of YouTube research on that. I am excited to hear how this reading has impacted you today. Let's keep our lines of communication wide open. I am sending you so much love and light. Like the video, subscribe. I will talk to you soon. Mwah.